What's up, everybody? I'm Yogi Chris, captain of IMC Nation. That's the highest rank under the founder, AZD, Arash Zepar Dibazar. I'm going to go over a curriculum of what you can learn from this guy. And first, you need to know the foremost expert on earth when it comes to relationships with women. And how do we measure relationships with women? Quality, quantity, longevity, loyalty. I don't know, go more into it. Prestige. How difficult of a woman is it to get? How beautiful is she? What's really her value? You might be subjective about these things, but I mean, show me some second place guys, some third place guys. Who do you think should be on the billboard with AZD or on the podium or in the competition with him? And I'll tell you why I think AZD is the greatest. And I'm a PhD of engineering from the University of Florida, master's in the University of Oklahoma. And, you know, I built a business in yoga just using AZD tech, and I took over the nation with it. Really, I was getting recognized as an upstart, up-and-coming yoga practitioner that was an ex-college wrestler. You know what I mean? This tech really works. I've had many relationships. I've had a girl now for 4.5 years, shout out, and multiple relationships just easily, effortlessly using AZD tech of a life of truth, wisdom, courage, artistic expression, and he has systems for how he does that. Now, to understand AZD, you got to understand a monk, someone that's fully dedicated to what they do, a spiritual man. You got to understand a gangster, a guy that's down with his movement above and beyond anything outside of that. And I'm not here to really teach you per se, but to facilitate AZD teaching you, to facilitate your transformation through AZD. I got to kind of lay out the map for you so you understand what it is you're looking at. Because it's just he's shorter than me, bald, older, tattooed, heavily tattooed guy that through charisma and understanding human psychology is able to generate, meaning it didn't exist before, generate attraction, comfort, trust, love, with very, very hard to get women. And he's had multiple relationships, many of them for over 10 years, and all kinds of other things going on, man. And meanwhile, he's doing lots of other stuff. He's got businesses with his girls. He's got celebrity clients that, you know, if you're going to learn game and how to be with women, then there's only one man to learn from that I know of, because it's going to be the biggest liability to any man as you build your business, fame, reputation, everything. It's going to be of a woman or women that's going to devastate your business and your enterprise, or is going to have you totally compromise yourself as a man to protect yourself. So you become one of the girls and you're not a threat anymore. You be beta. And that guy becomes a pervert later. That's what we see rich billionaires that are perverts. That's why. Because they compromised, and it's a slippery slope. Snowballs into a completely pathetic existence, even though you make lots of money. So AZD's systems are he organically or evolves, and I'm saying it like this because I end up repeating this kind of spiel to guys that jump on board and they sign up for programs or whatever. They need a little bit more reality on who is AZD, why this and why that. So I've found myself laying out this context many times with people, and so I wanted to make this general video to be able to distribute to people and shorten the process. AZD is evolving the art form of seduction and courtship between men and women. And with that, he's innovating as time moves forward. He doesn't have a premeditated 6-step process to do this, or in 12-week transformation do that. That's not how he is. He is so far ahead as a top player based on his whole history, which I don't necessarily want to get into, but I mean, he was an established guy that learned pickup as an art form, became very good, and applied it to his life and built a life just so full of women that you couldn't help but become masterful at it, started teaching it, and then you start seeing how what your understandings affect other guys' lives. You get feedback from those guys about how it worked, didn't work, and you hone your craft. And pretty soon he was so far ahead of even second place, and that was years ago. Now he's just like, he's practically an interdimensional being that's here like as a prophet of game. He's just, so, as he innovates, he reports on it. Those are the advanced trainings. What you basically have with AZD is 2 lines that are happening. Down here you have free stuff, which is often back in time, because we're not often posting current stuff freely. We're taking clips from way past stuff and posting them, or you're watching video blogs from the past on YouTube or whatever, but you can load up on that stuff. That's the free stuff. And there's so much. And, you know, I have so many testimonies and feedbacks from guys just from watching free stuff. It's He's really what's called prolific. He just keeps putting it out. So above that is the daily class. And like it says every day, sometimes when we travel, like road trips to Hollywood or something, there's not a daily class. Currently, it's at 10 a.m. every day. It's been at 10 a.m. every day for a while. And the class name changes. It was originally Love Spell, then it became Lion's Den, and he just kind of rebrands the name and a new graphic. And it's a new theme because he, as an artist, and I'll get into that, just changes, and he changes the theme of his program to fit the theme of his character and what he's working with. So the daily class that's always happening every day. You get a Zoom link, you get the recordings in a members area. It's basic, same thing for, it's been the same way for a while. $47 is the price for that. Then at the same time, there's free stuff happening, there's daily class, then there's advanced. And the advanced is a little bit more inspired. It comes in waves. There may be a 2-week chunk that's an advanced training. There may be a 4-week chunk. There may be a 3-lecture chunk that's done in a week. It may be a single lecture that's just a seminar like just happened. But there's some advanced stuff that's happening that takes more money because it's more disclosure of the game. It's more disclosure in his relationships. That means like stuff that's hidden, reveal it because the game is to be sold, not told. Like when it's explained to you how to seduce, how to pick up, what the psychology of women are, then you have that and you operate with it. And there's tons of examples. AZD's been teaching for a long time, guys taking the data and going and doing unethical things with it because they know how to manipulate people and whatever. And so it's costs more to get the advanced disclosure, and really you get more advanced results with that. That's just what it is. That's what I'm going to go over today, actually, is the advanced curriculums and where that all fits in, because the daily class is more or less just pacing the evolution here at a low disclosure rate, a low disclosure level. PG-13. This is the PG-13 stuff. This is the rated R. And this is the G and PG stuff. If you want the rated X shit, then you come in person. That's the, we're here in Vegas, living the lifestyle. So I'll try to talk about that a little bit. I'm going to use this board over here. Right on. Okay. And then just keep me on time every 10 minutes, if you can tell me. Yeah. Okay, so I saw it as these pillars. I talk about the pillars of AZD Tech, and in the time that I've been working with him, I met him like in 2015 or something, and then I started selling his camps in mid-2019. And I've been responsible for all the advanced trainings, with maybe the exception of like one lecture here or something like that. But all of them since then, so that's about 6 years now. And in 6 years, there's over 120 boot camps. Those are packages of advanced lectures and all kinds of audios and behind-the-scenes shit and diagrams and whatever comes with advanced training. In person was part of it, but now they're in the past, so all you get are recordings. And they cover various subjects, but he rotates. It's almost like called circling back. It's almost like he comes back, but it's not really circling back. It's more like a coil forward. He's moving forward. So as he circles back to the same location, let's say the same subject, let's call it Chosen. He goes to Chosen, which is one of the pillars. He's actually moved forward in evolution, in time. So by cycling through all the different characters and subjects that he goes through, he returns to the same character, but more evolved. And he's not on premeditated, like next month I'll be this character, next month I'll be that character. No, he's guided by his intuition and his artistry, and I'll explain that in a second, actually like right now. So by administering these 120 boot camps to guys, by selling them, describing them, taking them myself, I'm a student also, I saw that there were kind of categories that they all fit in. Most of them, they fit in these categories. And I called these the pillars of AZD Tech. And at the top, it's kind of like a teepee. They all come to the top and become what is AZD game. Now, you can't ignore the individual. If you mastered all the pillars to the max degree, you'd still be your own individual. You're never going to be AZD gaming. But that's AZD game. Everything he's doing, he's possessed, devoted, obsessed, he's in it. This is all he does. He gets paid to game because he built his life doing martial arts, got a bunch of women, separated women's fitness center, martial arts center, around the women all the time, living with his girlfriends, etc. They became his trainers. Okay, so 5-10 years of doing that, you get really experienced teaching seduction and relationships. Pretty soon you are paid to be the vessel of the messenger of how to date beautiful women. Everybody else fails. Every other coach in the world fails. They suck. They really do. You can tell when you go out with the top player for long enough who the phonies are. And the guys who aren't phony are not getting the same results. They may not be phony, so that's cool. I'm not saying they can't help people, but if you want to learn from the best to be the best, I don't see anybody comparing, not on the podium. So these 6 pillars, one of them is only in person. We have videos on YouTube for it, but really it's in how AZD teaches, and when you're in person, that's his martial arts called Panjo. It's a character development system of self-defense for the street, makes you very aware, and brings out your nature. I mean, that's what he works with. It's all bringing your game back to natural game. So that'll happen when it happens when you open our fight center here in Vegas, and that'll be a beautiful thing, very exclusive. So the other 5 pillars, and I maybe could have drawn this bigger, but we could call it game. Game is just one of the pillars. Psychology, seduction, evolution, pickup skills, dating skills, anything really directly related to dating women. We have, let's call it beast. This would be things called like the beast process or animus. Sometimes it goes under that name. And there's a whole mythology around that AZD's developed. It's a personal creation from his childhood and his imagination, later coming across. One of these other pillars is called Manu. Manu was his teacher, Manu Tupo, one of his many teachers, but the original one that woke him up. And his teachings about acting and imagination using the mind are so important. And it's one of the most underutilized, if not the most underutilized in all of IMC, because people just don't have interest. But I'm telling you, you're never going to get the game until you practice Manu Tech. All of these are essential. Then we have messengers. Messengers is AZD's communication tech, how to get the message across. And then we have chosen. And chosen is his spiritual tech. And it's emphasized by AZD to come to him for game. Game is what he's teaching. Now, different guys, they may be married or they may be going through this or that. And they're not really trying to be a player or a beast or whatever. I administer to the individual what they need. And if it makes sense to do other things, then it will. And it'll be a mutual decision. Ultimately, the guys that are looking to be like players, like some of the guys that are on Zoom, I think right now, like you need it all. But everybody, I think it's good for humanity. You know what I mean? All this stuff. Because what AZD is doing is not a gimmick. He's a messenger of relationships between men and women. And he's revealing the deeper nature and the code of the deeper nature so that we can have fulfilling relationships in this four-walled world where we live in offices and look at computers and have a very unnatural life. How can we have natural relationships? AZD is showing. So, like I said, the Panjo happens in person. Then there's curriculums for these other trainings. Game is going to be, and I'll go deeper into each of these in future videos. So let's say game, you have things called his infield. This is a video of him actually gaming beautiful women. Audio, you know, everybody wants infield. We have one product of it. It was a reality show that we did with a bunch of models, and he was super mic'd up and everything, and you hear his game for 2.5 hours. It's incredible. You have other things like dating seminars. You have seduction videos that he does with, or he has done with some of his dancer girlfriends. You have things like his tap in. How does he tap in to go out? That's part of the game. There's maybe some other things involved with that. So there's a whole curriculum there that is handpicked out of the 120 plus advanced trainings. Many of those don't make the list because they're just not as good as some of the other trainings. But this is, if you want to blitz his game pillar, you would get these things. Beast Animus. There's old school beast process, which is calisthenics and certain disciplines and things like that. And it's essential, and you may never get it. You may never have the constitution to do it. But it's essential for one of the other, there's a couple offshoots to these 6 pillars because I couldn't accurately categorize everything in these 6 pillars. It was just kind of convenient for explaining things. You got game, beast, Manu's tech, messengers, chosen, and fighting, Panjo. Now you have little offshoots like in the beast process, you have something called the outsiders. It may actually fit better between beast and game. Outsiders. And that's a whole philosophy that's very related to game, and it's very related to prison culture and gangster mentality. When it comes to game and learning game, AZD operates as a primal man that belongs to a tribe. And so it's like a tribalism philosophy. Outsiders is a whole school of camps. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 camps that I give to guys as a curriculum for outsiders, for that gangster mentality, not joining a gang or doing crimes, but a gangster mentality when it comes to game is something that every pickup artist in the world is missing. They're pansies when it comes to the concepts of outsiders. And then the other thing that's a little bit of an offshoot is business. AGD has taught business and sales, and he's a master of influence, and the way that he teaches money and success is super related, completely related to the game. Remember, all he's saying is come and learn game from him. Don't learn spirituality and sales and stuff from him. But for the guy who wants to learn game and knows that AZD is the best and he wants to learn from the best, it's a good idea to learn business, how AZD thinks of business. Otherwise, you're going to build a castle on sand or a house of cards, something that's going to be crumbled by women because you don't know how to handle women, and you're going to game in the wrong places. You're going to talk to the wrong kinds of women in the wrong way, and you're going to have a lack of understanding when it comes to money and value exchange because it's so related to the value exchange in social dynamics. So it's a little offshoot, business and outsiders, but really the main pillars are game, beast, Manu, messengers, chosen, Panjo. Not in any particular order, they're all equally essential, basically. So beast has the old school beast process, and then some of the new school stuff, which has to do with quantum leap technology. That's how he makes these storylines in AI, and transferring the beingness of a stoic beast, basically someone, a monk who can shapeshift in his imagination into a beast or be a vessel for a beast-like energy, still being human. Obviously, I'm not saying like you like the devil or something, but so that involves some more recent like QL camps and, you know, Dominion, the current Fangs of some camps kind of fit in the middle. Like if guys that are on the current Fangs camp, just a little tangent right now, Fangs would fit somewhere between beast and game if I was going to categorize it. 10 minutes left. That's perfect. So we're going to wrap it up really tight. So that's the curriculum of beast, would be the old school beast process or some of the new school quantum leap technology stuff, which would be the Beast Gathering November, Dominion would be the main ones. Then Manu Tech, this one's very interesting. Basically what you have is you have the relaxation, which is not really taught. And that's, I come in as a highly valuable member of IMC Nation because I'm a yogi. And so the ability to relax is super important for yoga. And what we practice has a lot to do with yoga. AZD really recommends a certain branch of meditation. If you're seeing this, transcendental meditation. And relaxation, very important. Then you have what's called the fourth wall, a technique of living privately even though you're being observed by people. And you learn that somewhat in the old school beast process. The original beast process will teach you some fourth wall. Otherwise, the fourth wall is really practiced in person during a private moment. And I don't know that they can see the writing, so I don't know if the camera needs to be zoomed or anything like that. So the private moment is a very rare offering that it's going to be hard to come by, but if you're enthusiastic and you do your due diligence to do your tech, I can easily talk AZD into doing a private moment with you. We used to do a bunch of them. We did about 60 or 70 of them. They were $1,000 each, and they were worth every penny. It's getting an observation from your peers on your being, on your character, in a way that is just not possible outside of a private moment. It's just what it is. But you can still practice the Manu Tech. You can still practice the fourth wall. And when you buy the Manu Tech, I can explain the fourth wall more, or I may in a future video explain it. But then you have the real tangible creation exercises and communing with nature. These two exercises are beautiful. You can practice them at home, and they develop you in a way that you will never be developed otherwise. Creation exercise using your imagination and feeling it. You develop your neurology and the part of your brain or whatever it is that allows you to imagine. AZD is extremely creative in set and in conversation. And set means like when you're talking to a pretty girl or any group of people, really. And he's so imaginative, and imagination is a key to unlocking all the blocks of your mind. And you're going to have so many blocks. The maze or the labyrinth to mastering game. You have so many blocks in your consciousness and in your energy body that will inhibit you from talking to the right person, taking initiative, being intuitive. So many ways it's going to inhibit you. You got to overcome that. And going to outside therapies don't seem to work by evidence and all the people we work with. And even some of the best organizations, they've become corrupted and they're no longer helping people in this way. So it's a really terrible planet to be on if you want to free your mind. But we have answers. But just come to us for game. So messengers is a whole school of linguistics that I could get into. You know, there's the hypnotherapy camps. There's the sacred syntax camp. These are essential. There's other things that are hard to come by, like the 555 event, if you ever hear about it. There's keys to the matrix. One of my favorite camps of all time. Very, very dense, disturbing also, but about 12 hours of linguistics that'll change your entire understanding of communication so far, so deep, you'll never look back. You'll know that you found a great teacher with keys to the matrix for sure. But you got to build up to that. I mean, you don't have to. You could probably just come in and pay me a bunch of money for that. But this is a curriculum that takes somebody up the ladder to a messenger, a guy who gets the message across, a communication expert, basically. And then last but not least, chosen. This is that biblical shit. And, you know, you never thought AZD, the Z in AZD stands for Zepar, the demon of seduction. He made a pact with a demon many, many years ago. I was around when that first happened, and I remember, like, deciding, like, am I going to stay with this teacher? Because that's some fucking heavy shit. And he lost a lot of students in that. Years later, he goes to Jesus. And he's lost a lot of students when he did that too. And don't look to him to give you the truth. Look to him to point the way. That's all it is. And so he's free of that shit, but he's still part of the pact with Zepar was, I'm going to make your name known. So he did that. And you decide if you want to, if you're brave enough to follow, you have your own ethics. Obviously, I'm good. I'm good with it. A lot of goodness comes out of here and not any badness. So it's fine. Chosen was that biblical tech. And man, that's just to overcome all emotions, how to really be alpha, how to forgive and create a separation between you and your ego so that you can change, how to get out of your own way so that God can change you. It's literally that religious shit. And it fucking works, bro, at the highest levels. Basically, we have a series of camps, Chosen 1 times 2, Chosen 2 happened. Then there were many camps that get left out of this, but Genesis is amazing because you see a whole retelling of the Old Testament Genesis story that'll free your spirit, bro. It's going to, an interpretation and a retelling, and then you're going to see exorcisms, real exorcisms of guys and girls on camera. Some real shit that what makes you feminine and beta is that you're emotional and that you lack understanding about women and the condition of planet Earth when it comes to demons and spirits and shit like that is going to make it that you can never guide a beautiful woman ever very far because she's involved in that. The primary hosts are going to be the beautiful women. So you got to be a master of that shit if you want to get to the highest levels. There's just no avoiding it. And then all the way up to Chosen 3 and Chosen 4 is the current one. And so it's just a curriculum of trainings to help you overcome all emotions, put righteousness back in your relationships, stop being under women, lead, be alpha in so many ways. We go through a ton of examples in Chosen, talking with students that they've compromised themselves in their relationships to get the woman, basically to keep her, they become weaker. And God doesn't want you to be weak. You got to be strong. So if you're compromising at all, you need Chosen. And you are compromised. It's like a trap. I know you're compromised. So those are the 5 pillars. I know it's just a garbled mess of notes and whatever. Basically what I'll be laying out, and I have a document for this, is these 5 pillars, let's say, because Panjo you can only get in person. And then the curriculums, 1, 2, 3, 4. What is the curriculums for these? Now, I work with you in person when you come residency. Residency, I can really handpick things out based on how you're gaming and how you respond to my conversation and everything that I think would be essential. You know, they have a concept in gardening and whatever that you have missing, or in forestry, anything, nature, you have botany, basically. You have limiting nutrients. You need the main nutrients, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium to grow a plant. If one of these is in short supply, the plant doesn't grow very well. If you're missing one of the ingredients to AZD's game, it's gonna stunt your development. There's weak links that we gotta fill in. So when you come for residency, those are the big ticket. That's the big ticket cost. It just depends on how long you want to stay and how well we know you, case by case basis. When you come in here, I give you chunks of these advanced trainings to fill in the gaps for you because they all come together at the top to have some sort of game that resembles AZD. And I tell you, game here is natural, it's effortless, it is all based on character, attraction, comfort, trust, and seduction with the finest women in America and indeed the world is, as AZD teaches, from your character. And how do you change your character really as a man? Well, it's happening as you live, but it's very slow and it's calibrated to communist society. So if you want to be a sovereign man, a masculine man truly, just look at the evidence, AZD girlfriends, number, yeah, I get it, number of them, number of years, quality, both of the woman and of the relationship, two different things, the quality of relationship and the quality of the woman, you judge. And then find another teacher. And it's easy math. It's the best teacher on earth. And I'm his best student right now. The best curriculum writer, at least, let's say. There's a PhD. So best curriculum writer for sure. So that's the 6 pillars broken down. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Is there any time for a question or two? You guys have any questions or not? I probably don't even have time. If you have any questions, just send me a DM, everybody. I appreciate you on. And if you watch this on YouTube or whatever, there's links below to catch up on the newsletter. Free stuff. I mean, we get free stuff. Load up on the free stuff, no problem. And then, of course, getting involved in all sorts of things. Like there's the $1 a month Telegram group. There's the daily class, $47. And then advanced shit, man. Get on it. That's where the transformation really happens. It's a really thick, long journey. You got to go through the matrix of your mind. You've been lost at sea for a long time, and here's the beacon saying, bros, we got the answer. You're failing. I know you're failing. I know. I talked to thousands of guys, the guys that are trying to get better at game. Some of them are not bad, bro. They're pretty good, and they're failing. I know they are with relationships. They're weakened, and they're hiding, and they're lost and confused, and they're numbing themselves out of it with whatever experiences or drugs or whatever to, keep their attention off the fact that they are really not at the level of game that is their right to be if you choose to take it. It's not that AZD is more special, it's that he's just taken more ownership of it. And that takes responsibility, bro, because the world will push back on you. That's why I'm saying the Matrix and hell and all of these things, we operate as if these things are real. They're real to us in IMC Nation. That's what makes us the greatest men's development movement that's ever existed and the greatest team of players that's ever existed under the number 1 player, in my estimation and measurement, that's ever been recorded on Earth. Here's the curriculum. Os, everybody.